welcome to this edition of the Technical Area Podcast. Joining me today is
Rob, West Ham fan.
Lee, I'm an Arsenal fan.
And returning from Madrid, making Courtois' dream move happen,
Kieran, Crystal Palace fan.
with me, Jason, the Chelsea fan. Handing you over now to Lee for the main talking points from the weekend.
Yeah. We'll start with the Arsenal City game. 2-0 to City. City, obviously Emery's first game in charge. I mean, for Emery's first game, he couldn't really pick a more difficult game for him to have as his first game in charge. I mean, his first two, he's got City next week as well. What did you think of the game? What did any of you think of the game?
I thought Man City didn't go out of first gear, really. If I'm honest with you, I thought Man City could have smashed you if they wanted to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I can see. Obviously, I think if Arsenal didn't have Man City first game, I think they probably would have won. But a team like Man City, whenever you play them, it's always going to be tough.
I think Arsenal looked pretty good in the second half. I think, well, they've got new additions, new manager. Things will click. By time, obviously.
Lacazette had a couple of good chances in the second half to do something, but not a bad outing for Emery's first game, I think, against
Looks
City.
promising for the Arsenal fans.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, moving on, you've got another new manager, Sarri, at Chelsea, beating Huddersfield 3-0.
For me, being a Chelsea fan, I'll take the lead on this one. I think a lot of people didn't expect Sarri to settle in quick. I think a lot of people thought this is virtually the same team Conte had. It's going to be similar to when Conte left. But he's not. He's come in, we're playing fluid attacking football. It's different, it's new.
Yeah, as a West Ham fan, I honestly thought you'd struggle. The starts. I thought it might take you a month or two to really get going. So for a 3-0 win away from home seems pretty promising.
I mean, really though, thinking about it, is this not sort of, in a way, the flip of Emery's first game? For a first game, do you want for a manager to just come in with a top 4, top 6 side? You're going to want a Huddersfield as your first game. No offence to Huddersfield fans, but if you're coming in the top 6, you're going to want a Huddersfield or a newly promoted side as your first game to maybe ease you into the job a little bit.
Understandable point.
Mm-hmm. So, move on to the Liverpool game. 4-0 against West Ham. West Ham signed a lot of players.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, it was always going to be a tough game. Liverpool away, I don't think anyone would have beat them the way they played, but for a team that's just got, we had 5 new players starting in our starting lineup. They hadn't really had time to gel. We had 2 new players at defence, and we just looked shaky all over the place on Sunday. Don't know what you think about it.
I think Liverpool, the way they played, give them the trophy already in a way.
Well,
Just convincing.
Once again, though, the tradition continues in these games so far. Pellegrini's first game as West Ham manager against Liverpool. Once again, as West Ham boss, I think that's probably you didn't want. If there was 2 teams you didn't want as your first game as manager, I think right now it's Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will be the closest to challenge City for the title this year because they look really good. Like their counter-attacking is just at its world. And yeah, I think Pellegrini's got a bit of a job on him at West Ham.
I mean, moving on slightly, you got Tottenham 2-1 against Newcastle. Won it by 9mm.
To be fair though, like winning it by 9mm or the ball smashing the back of the net,
Yeah,
3 points is 3 points, and for a team that didn't make any signings, they still looked convincing.
Yeah.
They looked more than capable of challenging.
Yeah.
You can see they've still got the quality there.
Yeah.
They didn't need anyone else. They might not have the ability to challenge the title, but they still have a strong team this season.
Definitely. They'll definitely get Champions League, I reckon, again this season. Yeah, they're pretty strong. And Tottenham.
The last game we're really going to talk about here would be Wolves 2-2 with Everton. Everton, which really you got to look at, that Wolves they played well for their first game back in the Premier League, but a lot of their hopes, I think, this season now has got to ride on Ruben Neves. I think he got an assist and scored the free kick.
He's a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic player. But could you put him in a bigger side?
That is a point that you've got to look at and go, is he a big fish in a small pond? You even look at the Wolves and Everton, you look at the game at the weekend, he had more touches than any other player on that field.
That's the thing, that like, for me, I think Neves, as brilliant of a player as he is, I think he's at his level. I think, don't get me wrong, if you was to go to a Southampton, like an established Premier League club, yeah, okay, fair play. But then I don't think it'd be as cream of the cheese, I think they're saying is. I don't know.
Cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop,
Yeah,
actually. Cream of the cheese, I like that, I'm going to use that.
But sometimes you get these teams, they'll have one player that they build a squad around, and I think that's what they're doing with him. They're building a squad around him. So if he went to like a Man City or Arsenal, the team wouldn't be based around him, and I can't see him doing as well.
I can't see him being there that long, to be fair. I think if he continues, if he does what he does in the Championship, then I can imagine maybe a Southampton or a mid-table team coming from him. If Wolves do pretty bad.
Right, so going on to our next topic, going back to the West Ham Liverpool game. West Ham obviously scored the goal that was definitely 100% offside. Should VAR be used in the Premier League or not, basically?
I can see why people want it, and I can see why people don't want it, because it will stop play. But when you get decisions that could change games, I know that when Liverpool scored it was the third goal, it didn't really matter at that point. We was going to lose, but it could have been like an FA Cup final, or it could have been a title deciding match that happens in. You think if VAR was there, that would have stopped it. So I think it should be introduced.
The problem, the World Cup showed that it has its positives and negatives. There was still, even with VAR, there were still instances where VAR got it wrong, or the referee chose not to go to VAR when they should have gone to VAR, or went to VAR when there was no need to go to VAR. It's a real mixed bag of, do you want more stoppages in the Premier League in order to get maybe an extra 10%, 10 or 20% of decisions right?
So then, on that, what you're saying there about the stoppages and the going for things that maybe shouldn't be going for, for you, like Sissoko stamped on Kennedy in the Tottenham Newcastle game.
Yeah.
He's not getting a punishment for that because the referee included it in his official report. But do you think if VAR was in the Premier League, would he have been punished for that?
I definitely think he should be punished, but if the referee never saw it...
No, the referee did see it.
Yeah. Oh, fair play.
But that was the thing, wasn't it, during the World Cup, that they still can't overrule the refs on the field's decision. All they can do is advise the ref. So if the ref saw, even if VAR was in effect, if the ref saw that and went, that's not a red card or anything, they can't sway that, if you get what I mean. They can't say, I'd have a look at that if I was you. But if the ref still looks at that and goes, no, that's fine, then VAR wouldn't have made a difference there anyway.
But what I think should happen with VAR, I think they should have it as for like a referee inside watching the TV, and like they do it in rugby, they do it in cricket. They have one person going. They should be in his ear. If he doesn't give a penalty and they go, no, that was a penalty, he can go back and go, that was a penalty, and listen to the person watching the TV because he can watch the replays. So I think that's what they should do. So it doesn't stop the game. So the ref don't have to go over and watch the TV. Just someone in his ear go, you got that decision wrong, that's a penalty, or that was offside, or whatever decision it's supposed to be.
If they are going to bring VAR in, the one thing they need to do is make it clearer than they did at the World Cup as to when something went to VAR. For people on telly, that was fine, because you had the commentators telling you what was happening.
Oh, yeah.
But the people in the ground had no idea until whatever. Okay, it went up on the big screen after a while that there was a VAR review in progress. But after that, there was no... Why did they not do, like say, in cricket or in rugby, where the refs are mic'd up, so you can hear what they're saying?
I find if
you've
got like it's too stop-start for me, I think.
Yeah, that's the issue, isn't it, with VAR?
I don't like it, to be fair. I think they should implement it in the Premier League if they can make it a bit better, I suppose.
Right, so moving on now. One of the results we didn't talk about was the Man United-Leicester game. Jose Mourinho's come out once again before the game complaining that he's not going to have the majority of his first team squad and he's not got the best selection of players. However, do you think now, after beating Leicester some would say convincingly, others would disagree. Do you think the fans are no longer agreeing with him? He's no longer inside. Like, do you think he's going to last the season? In fact,
Definitely not. After he come out and said that some of his, he basically had an interview about Sanchez and then said some of the players around him ain't good enough. And I think when you say that, you probably, the players lose confidence in you because obviously. So they're not good enough, and I don't think he will last the whole season.
So do you think he's lost the dressing room?
I think he has, definitely. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
The thing about Mourinho is he's never a long-term manager, is he? Let's face that. What's the longest he's been a manager at since like Porto?
it's 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 3 years exactly. He doesn't stay long. Who will? And am I right in saying that this is the first time he's gone, like since Porto, that he's gone like 3 seasons without a trophy now, like or 2 seasons with Man United now. He's on his third season with Man United now, isn't it?
Yeah, this is his third season.
Am I right in saying it's his first one since Porto that he hasn't won the league title in that time?
I think you're right there, yeah.
You got to think Mourinho is a manager you bring in for results. You bring him in to get you a trophy.
But then at the flip side of that, he obviously won the Europa League. I think did they win the League Cup as well?
I think so.
Like, is that good enough? Is that good enough for Man United and a team of that calibre? Like, is that going to be classed as good enough? Like, to bring in Mourinho, even if he does leave at the end of the season, let's say, in the 3 years, could he look back on 2 trophies and...
But I think they're not even challenging from the league. It's normally up there is Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham. They've been finishing like Europa League spots and that. This is not a Man United side that should be finishing Europa League. They should be challenging for the title. They've got so much quality in their team. Like I say, they've got Sanchez, Lukaku, like De Gea. You can just keep going on all day. So, is there many players out there that he could get in that would, you think, if he got them players in, that's it, he would win the league?
On that point, bringing players into United that could improve them, Kevin De Bruyne obviously could go in there, could obviously shape into that team and improve him. However, something to note that come out today, he's injured. Does that affect City's title chances, do you think? Or are they going to just replace him with another one of their millions of attacking players?
That's the thing with Man City this season, and last season as well, to be honest. They've got so much depth in that team that I don't even think... I think he got brought on, but I think De Bruyne didn't start against us did not start against Arsenal this weekend. I think you'll find out.
No, he's a sub, he was.
He even started as a sub for that game, so it goes to show that Man City have got so much depth that I think even with them out being 2 months, they're still the same Man City, they're still a force.
But they just brought in Mahrez.
Exactly.
He's a quality player. Obviously not as good as De Bruyne, but could 100% go into that own team.
Could be there at some stage.
Yeah, I think even their second, third team will probably be good enough, better than most Premier League teams. They've just got so much money and so many attacking players that there's so many options they could bring in.
One of the options they didn't bring in though, Wilfried Zaha. It's another news from today. Signed a new contract at Crystal Palace against the odds until 2023. Kieran, you're the Palace fan here, mate. What do you think of that?
Well, that's obviously good for us because he's the main man, really, isn't he? And it's good to keep him on a long-term contract. Put all the transfer rumours to bed. Well, for this summer anyway. And
do you think he's gonna he's gonna change the way you're gonna finish in the league now with this new contract behind him?
I definitely think it will be. Yeah. I think with Palace this season we've got Hodgson's just signed a new contract, so we've got a bit of stability for once in our lives. So, I think definitely we could probably mid-table, maybe top half, just about.
Do we think he's too good for Palace, maybe? Has he signed this contract at the wrong time?
When I read it, I think Zaha may have signed the contract, because you've got to think he's tried before, he's gone to Man United. And okay, you can say he didn't get the chances that he should have done, but it still showed that he went back to Palace a year later. He tried the experiment with the top 4 and it didn't work. So I'm thinking maybe now is he thinking, I think Kieran, you've said it before, maybe jokingly, but I think you've got a point when you say it that he may be the best player outside of the top six. And that if you're not getting the chances in the top six, being able to be labelled the best player outside the top six is not a bad trade-off.
But do you think that when obviously he went to Man United, he was a hell of a lot younger. He was still a very young player at that time. There was not a lot expected of him as such. He was signed as a promising young player. Do you think now, if he went to a Tottenham, a Chelsea, an Arsenal even, do you think if he was given that ability to roam and play with world-class players week in, week out, no offence Palace fans, do you think he'd perform?
I think he'd still perform, but I think he wouldn't get noticed because there's been so many more great players around him. Like, I think he's, like you said before, with he's just a big fish in a small pond at Palace. But if he's around all other quality players, you don't notice them. Look at all the City players. You don't notice a lot of them. They have a great game, but you won't notice them because Aguero scores the goals or Sterling's De Bruyne. They'll get the credit. But you don't see what anyone else does. Edison might make 10 brilliant saves, but he wouldn't get noticed. There'd be no praise on him. And I think that's what Bees works so hard.
So Lee, I'm going to do the last bit of news today, and I'm going to hand this one over to you because I know you're loving this as an Arsenal fan. Tottenham's new stadium has been delayed again.
Yeah.
Give us the details.
Well, so they've confirmed they're already going to play one home game at Wembley. That was confirmed before the start of the season, and it's now come out that they're now going to have to play another 2 games at Wembley. They've had to cancel the NFL game that they was going to have, and that's been moved to Wembley as well. No, well, that's not too much of a deal for Tottenham, but that's big money that was going to go into Tottenham for use of the ground that they're now not going to get. And if you read newspaper reports today, because that's the only thing that's confirmed right now, that they're now going to have 3 games at Wembley and the NFL games been moved. But if you read newspaper reports saying that they're still not sure whether they're going to have the game, have the stadium ready for the October 24th, 28th? 28th game against Man City, and that is a game that, and they're saying that they can't do that at Wembley now because they've got another NFL game scheduled for the same day. And I was going, if you're listening, if you believe the newspaper reports, that the FA have told them that they're not going to switch it to an away game. They're not going to switch it around. So it gets to a point where either Tottenham are looking like, if they can't get the stadium ready, that they're going to have to find a 3rd stadium to play in. And you've got to think, but where is there that they would play? You've got to think really, because a lot of people have said, well, maybe they go out to the MK Dons Stadium. But surely that's too small of a stadium for Tottenham versus Man City.
Exactly that. So if you're going to go to the MK Dons Stadium, if it was a game against if it was a cup game against Preston North End, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to sell out an 80,000 seat stadium.
No.
Man City, though, is arguably one of their biggest games of the season.
Yeah.
Even the Spurs fans that live local, or Essex, or whatever, getting all the way up to Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, if they do have to have a 3rd grounds for like a couple of games, I think it'd be the West Ham Olympic Stadium.
Yeah,
because
but that depends on if you got. I don't know. I haven't read West Ham's fixtures, but that all depends on again if you have a home fixture that week.
Yeah, that's true. Because obviously, if we have like a Saturday and they've got Sunday, they won't let.
But then at the same time as well, even still, could you do that? Could you have 2 Premier League clubs registered at the same home ground?
Well, this was a problem. Not a problem, but the Premier League have seen that they will obfuscate. Don't know if obfuscate the right word, but they will bend their rules. There was already a rule in place until they must have broke it for this season for Tottenham, that was only meant to be able to play your home games at 1 ground all season. They've already made the exception for Tottenham to play 1, now 3 games at Wembley. So it's not too much of a stretch to think they would say you can have a 3rd stadium.
Do we think then that Tottenham should face some sort of sanction for this further delay to this? Like having to go and switch around the City game, finding another venue for that, and more games that, if they're selling these tickets to the fans for 22 home games instead of whatever.
That's been my issue with a lot of it, is that people that bought the season tickets for the new stadium, I do feel sorry for them, because now they've gone from, okay, they may have known when they bought their ticket that one of their games was going to be at Wembley, but now they've gone from playing for, say, even if they knew one of them, gone from now 18 home Premier League games. It's now down to 16 you've paid for at the new ground. That is if it's only these three, and it's looking like it might be the fourth for the Man City game. So now that's down to 15 games you're now paying for at the new ground instead of the 18 or 19 you were promised.
And going back to our last point, say they do move to MK Dons and you're a season ticket holder, so you've got to travel all the way to MK Dons to go and watch and play because you're a season ticket holder.
Yeah.
And that's a long way to go.
Should they face a point deduction maybe? Do you think?
I think a point deduction, even I say this as an Arsenal fan, I think a points deduction is too harsh, really. A fine from the FA or Premier League, yeah, but
to these clubs of this size, is that punishment? Same as financial fair play to PSG. Oh yeah, we'll slap them with a €50 million fine. Sweet, we just won't, like, do you know what I mean? We won't go out and buy a new car.
They are short. I mean, someone does have to be held to blame, because you've got to think of, Tottenham must have known at certain points that last season, this might not be ready for the start of the season, this might not be ready till November, and sort of not told anybody till now. They must have known a little while ago. And they say security concerns, but to me, does anyone really think that's the real reason, or is it just they haven't finished building and no one's really going to argue with security concerns as a reason for the delay?
For me, I think that realistically speaking, to expect to knock a football stadium down and build a new, fully functional football stadium with your practice events and everything else they have to do, all the safety checks and everything else, in 12 months.
Not even that, really, when you think about it.
I think that's a ridiculous thing to even try and do.
When you think, really, they tried... it was 12 months, wasn't it? Yeah, the season at Wembley. It was exactly like Chelsea's redevelopment plans. Okay, to a lesser extent, because you are completely knocking down your stadium and rebuilding it on the ground that you were knocking it down on. But you saying that you might need to be out of Stamford Bridge and at Wembley for 3 seasons?
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, what makes Tottenham's not so different, but considering this is meant to be like a stadium in the future, all high tech and everything, with retractable pitch and all that, surely they should know it's not going to be done in 12 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, moving on.
I was going to add.
Oh, no, sorry, we're not moving on.
Well, Atletico Madrid played in the Vicente Calderon and they managed to build their new stadium, the Wanda Metropolitano, in 9 months. I don't see why it would...
Because they're Spanish, they're not English.
Yeah, that's a good point. We are terrible, especially with roadworks.
Well, you can't do anything.
Yeah, we can't do anything quick, yeah. It's a good point, actually.
Right, so moving on to another topic. Another new signings topic. Rob, this is one you wanted to talk about tonight. Why do new players struggle straight away?
It's one of the ones. There've been loads of different players, quality players, that have struggled as when they come over here. Like they come from this Spanish league, the Italian league. They're brilliant. They score loads of goals or they get loads of clean sheets. They come over here and they simply can't do it. Like De Gea took him a season or two to become the goalkeeper he is over here now, and the list can go on. So I don't get why it takes these quality players who can play World Cups so long to adapt to the Premier League. Don't know what your thoughts are.
Do you think it's more because of the Premier League's a lot more physical and a lot more technical than some of these other leagues in Europe, that the players aren't used to that kind of football?
I think it's because we have the best league in the world. So we've got the quality players over here. But these players, they're big names. They should be competing with all these players. They seem to come over and go missing. Not missing, but they don't hit the form they have been for the other clubs abroad.
I think the Premier League is such a tougher league, not in terms of just harder. I mean, in terms of the tackling, not being playing in Spanish and Italian football. You see it a lot that these players will get the slight little touch and go down and get the free kick.
Yeah.
You don't get your Phil Jones, your 6'4" English centre half that's just gonna classy us go straight through you on a cold Tuesday night. which over here is part and parcel of the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't like Ronaldo and Messi. They're great players, but I don't think they'd score as many goals as they would in the Premier League because the defending in La Liga is nowhere near as physical it is in the Premier League, and yeah.
Right, so staying on the subject of new signings going missing, etc. Flip side of that, who performed the best of the new signings? Rob?
Well, look at it. It's hard. There's a few players that had good games, but one person I thought is Mitrovic. I thought he had a great game.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. He did play very, very well for Fulham.
Yeah, I thought he had a solid game. He looked good. I see. I know he's playing pace. He maybe should have done a bit better, but it's another one-man team, so he probably looked worse than what he actually was. So I thought we had a great game. Kieran?
I'd probably say Naby Keita for Liverpool. He just sort of bossed the midfield there, giving assists to Mane, Salah and Firmino. Looked like pretty safe. If he can keep that up, they'll probably challenge City for the title. What about you?
For me, it was probably Jorginho for Chelsea, if I'm honest with you. I know I'm a bit biased there, but he seemed so in control. He looked like he'd been playing. He almost looked like Kante had been playing, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to word it. He looked like he was playing in Kante's position better than Kante did. To some extent.
Yeah.
Like he was playing with Kante with added Frank Lampard. If you know what I mean. Like he was like doing the Kante sweeper run with the attacking side, which Kante never really did. Don't get me wrong, he scored, but you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Lee?
I mean, I would say an Arsenal player. I mean, Lichtsteiner had a decent enough game when he came on, played quite well. But I want to it wasn't necessarily a new signing. It's actually someone from Crystal Palace, Kieran. It wasn't necessarily a new signing, I think it came through your youth ranks. But Wan-Bissaka, the right back, he was everywhere. He pacey, and as a right back, he was exactly what he needed. I was watching Match of the Day, and the clearances and blocks he was making kept you in the games at some point. I thought for a young talent like that to come through this season, he showed some real promise.
Do you think he'll struggle against the big sides there?
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know until he's played. He's a young guy.
I think his first 3 games were, funny enough, maybe Chelsea, Tottenham, and one might have been City. I might be wrong, but his first 3 games were like a top 4 teams, and he played brilliant. And Zaha, I was reading the other day that he said he's one of the hardest people in training because he's absolutely everywhere and he's always right in front of you. But yeah, definitely it's like a good prospect for Palace. And
he's definitely one for the future.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. Yeah.
Right, so hit on to the next topic here is which player do you think needs a good season this year? Like which player do you think this season needs to have his standout career season?
I think Morata, because they brought him in for like Costa when Costa was leaving, and he's just not really done much. He scored some goals, but he's not really hit the ground running. It's obviously got Giroud in now to sort of help him out because he's not. Maybe go back to a point where it takes a season or two to find your feet in the Premier League. Maybe that's what's happening, but I think he needs to have a good season. Otherwise, I think in January or summer, I think he's going if he doesn't have a good season this year.
Yeah, you got to think. If you believe the transfer rumours over the transfer window, he was close to being out the door anyway. So I think unless he does something now in between now and January, you got to think he's going to be maybe turfed off in January somewhere.
I think with Morata, it's a case of it, like you say, it is now or never.
Yeah.
If he doesn't perform well, like you say, he's gonna be out the door. He's got to be. Lee.
I think it's got to be Sanchez at Man United. Yeah, I think they are paying him $500,000 a week. He didn't really set the world on fire between January and the end of the season the end of last season. He is a player that you can't make the same argument that he isn't acclimatised to Premier League football. He was at Arsenal. He had 3 seasons at Arsenal. surely he should have been able to go into that team and play the same way he did for Arsenal. So you've got to think now he's got 12 months to justify that 500 grand a week that he's getting paid.
Do you think, in a way, he's the same as Morata, though? Do you think if it comes to January and he's still not justified it, he could be out the door? Or
I think, but only because he was signed in January, does he get this full season. I think if he'd have been signed at the same time as Morata, then yes, it would have been January, if not he's out the door. But I think because he was only signed in January, he'll get this full season.
Fair play. Kieran?
I'd probably go with Jack Wilshere, West Ham. I think he's a player that's, it's never really hit his top form. I think,
He's got to stay a season out of the physio room, isn't he? Really?
I think at a team like West Ham, I think this is his time to prove himself because he'll be a player week in, week out that'll play.
Yeah, he's been dropped by England, so he sort of needs to have a good season, really.
What you, Jace?
For me, I'm going to get a lot of people disagree with me on this, and I know that. But I think Dele Alli, to be honest with you, I think, don't get me wrong, at the World Cup, wasn't the worst player on the team, by a long shot. But last season for Tottenham, did he even deserve his place there? I think get where I'm coming from. Did he even deserve to be a starter for England at the World Cup on that form?
Yeah, I can see it. I think he's playing well, but he's not hitting his what he has been in the past.
That's it. It's like he's become too
relaxed, maybe.
Yeah, too relaxed. Exactly that, Rob. Like he's proved he can play really well, and now he knows he's one of the first names on the team sheet at Tottenham and at England. So it's like he feels like he doesn't need to try.
He's got a bad. He needs to. Okay, he was good during the World Cup. He needs to be a bit more disciplined. You got to look at last season there was the yellow cards and the stupid lashings out when he didn't need to, and the dives. He's got to rein all that in now. He's got to be disciplined. He's not. It's not his first season in the Premier League anymore.
Right. So this is a little not fun as such, but this is so you can get to know us a little bit more as this new sort of revamped podcast we're doing or whatever. The last one, it never seemed like there was a lot of us to you type thing. Like, we want you to get involved on the Twitter and the YouTube, which I'm going to chuck it over to Lee to give all the information about again.
So you can subscribe on the YouTube, Technical Area Podcast, on Twitter, Technical Area PC. We're now on Facebook, search for the Technical Area, or you can just facebook.com/the Technical Area, take you straight to our page. Please give us a like and a share. Love to get this out there more. Also on iTunes. iTunes, once again, search for the Technical Area. Technical Area also on Podbean or on any good Android podcast service. I believe we should show up now.
So you can get to know us a little bit more. We're going to do a little sort of segment every week of something football related that we like. That, you know what I mean? That's something that it'll change every week, basically. But the first one this week is our best moment as the fan of the team we support. So, Kieran, you can go first.
I'd probably say 2016 FA Cup final. For Crystal Palace, is probably a big step getting to the FA Cup final. It was probably like 10 minutes away from winning it. Unfortunately, referee decision didn't go away. Or that, or staying up last season because it was... everyone wrote us off really early on. We stayed up and... Yeah.
So, Lee?
I could go with the Invincibles, but I was really a bit too young to properly notice that. But I think I'd have to go for the 2014 FA Cup win. Because at the time we were 10 years out of winning a trophy, and everyone was on our backs. It was good to be able to finally go after 10 years of the rebuild, so to speak, that was after the new stadium, that we could come out with a trophy again. 2-0, get 2-0 down against Hull. Hull to be able to come back. That Cazorla free kick just before half time, and that Ramsey winner in extra time was poetry. It was brilliant.
Okay, Robert.
Well, as a West Ham fan, we don't really have too many great moments, apart from like the 1966 World Cup. Just want to put it in there. But
Rob, we said West Ham, mate.
yeah, all right. Going back to it. I think the best moment for me was the last season of the bowling when we had Pyatt and we was finishing like 7th, was beating all these top teams, playing great football. The fans were all together. Like, there's a proper buzz around the ground, and it was a great season for us. What you, Jace?
For me, Champions League final, Bayern Munich, winning that, Drogba rolling that penalty in. For me, that moment, it made me fall in love with football again, to be honest with you. That made me one that just, I went nuts. Anyway, so, Kieran, I feel like we've got something from you, I believe. Do we, or do we not? No?
No.
Okay. Fair enough, I'm wrong, I'm mistaken. Well, thank you for joining us on this Technical Area podcast. So thank you from me.
Thank you.
Thank you for me.
Thank you from me.
And good night.